Christmas and a very good afternoon to you wherever and however you've got us tuned in on Talksport 2. 10,000 Mackems ready to roar, because whilst the classical music is playing, we still haven't seen the emergence of Michael Salisbury, the referee, and the two teams ahead of this second leg. All beautifully spaced around us as we sit, Simon and I, with our bird's eye view right at the top of the west stand here at the Stadium of Light on Wearside. To our right, the so-called Roker end. It's got that red and white livery that used to adorn the stands at the old Roker Park. The north stand to our left, the two-tier stand, nicely populated, and the east stand as well has got a good smattering of fans in as well. But we're just waiting now. In fact, the TV director is just telling the players to hold as out come, well, you can tell who's coming out first. Lincoln City are emerging to the pantomime boos of those around this huge cavernous bowl-like stadium with their 2-0 advantage. And here come the Mackems. Huge ovation as Grant Ledbetter leads out Sunderland. 3,000 Imps fans brought their team on to the 2-0 first leg lead in this playoff semi-final. Now it's this lot's turn to try and help rescue this tie for Sunderland against this Lincoln side who boast the best away record in League One in the season just gone. Well, the performance of the emergency Lincoln keeper Joseph Bursick signed 2 days before the first meeting definitely caught the eye on Wednesday as he made some excellent saves at 0-0 before goals from Tom Hopper and young Brennan Johnson caused a headache for Lee Johnson, the Black Cats manager. But to that end, Lee Johnson's made 4 changes from the 11 he selected at the LNER Stadium, the most significant of which sees fans' favourite Chris Maguire return to the starting lineup for the first time since December. The lineup shows 4 changes in all, as well as Maguire's return. McFadden plays at left back for the injured Denver Hume. Ledbetter, who I mentioned, skippers the side, and Ross Stewart partners Charlie White up front. Jones, Power, Flanagan and Hume are the players that drop out. So it's Lee Birch in goal, Lyndon Gooch at right back today, Bailey Wright, Luke O'Nien and Callum McFadden in the back 4. Brad Ledbetter and Josh Scowen holding. Chris Maguire playing further forward with Aidan McGeady, and Charlie White and Ross Stewart. They're the strike force. As for Lincoln, well, he went very bold in Michael Appleton with his team in the first leg, and he's kept all the attacking talent in place today. 2 changes. Alex Palmer returns as first choice goalkeeper after his head injury meant he missed with concussion, and Lewis Monsma, who came on for the injured Adam Jackson, he keeps his place from the start for this second leg. So it's Alex Palmer in goal, Regan Poole, Lewis Monsma, TJ Ayoma and Teo Edun at the back 4, Brennan Johnson, Liam Bridcut, the former Sunderland man, and Jorge Grant in midfield, Anthony Scully, Tom Hopper and Morgan Rogers up front. And everyone singing along with Elvis Presley to a man and a woman and a child inside the Stadium of Light. Now it's down to business. Could be 90 minutes, could be 120 minutes, could be even more with a penalty shootout. Simon Grayson, former Sunderland manager, is alongside me for the ride, and this should be quite a ride, Simon.
Hey, Dan, how good is it to be inside a ground with the supporters? I know you've been at a few in the playoffs over the last few nights, but the first time I've experienced this for a while, and it's just an unbelievable experience for the players and everybody involved. And obviously what's at stake at this particular game is so much riding on the season so far, and obviously we're expecting a fantastic game.
And we're underway on Talksport 2 at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland in their traditional red and white stripes with black shorts and red socks. Lincoln in their change strip today of black shirts, white shorts, black socks. And Sunderland are actually attacking the Roker end away to our right in this first period. And an early throw in for Regan Poole, the former Manchester United youngster for Lincoln City, looking for Tom Hopper down the right hand side, but O'Nien gets his head to the ball. It's hooked over halfway by Anthony Scully, but that'll drop onto the head of Bailey Wright, and Sunderland win possession back on the halfway line. It's stroked across to Lyndon Gooch playing at right back today. He's played there before, of course, Simon. It's not totally unfamiliar position to the American, is it?
No, that's right. He's played wing back as well. Look, Lyndon will get forward and join him whenever he can, and he's going to have to do his defensive duties against Morgan Rogers, because he's certainly got some ability as Morgan.
Well, Chris Maguire just hauled down Brennan Johnson as Lincoln thought about starting a break down the right-hand side. It really is a bird's eye view that we're afforded up here at the Stadium of Light. Needed gas in air once we got to the top here, didn't we, Simon?
Yeah. I'm a bit fitter than you, Dan, so I was able to do it a little bit quicker. But
quite a climb, but it's worth it for the view that you get down to the pitch beneath us. Ball cleared away by Alex Palmer, back in the Lincoln goal this afternoon. A minute gone on Talksport 2. And here a chance for Lincoln to drive forward. It's Jorge Grant with a shot from 25 yards out that he screws wide. But suddenly the ball just pops up for Jorge Grant in space. And he was able to have a drive at goal which went wide.
Yeah, just a straight ball up the middle of the pitch. Hopper challenged for it, and McFadzean, who looked for a pass into midfield, misplaced it, and it dropped to Grant, and you'd expect him probably to hit the target, to be fair. So Sunderland got to have one eye on the defensive side as well as pushing forward to try and get this first goal, which is going to be crucial in this game.
Aidan McGeady, the assist king at the Stadium of Light, tries to play the ball forward to Ross Stewart. Just won back temporarily by TJ Ayoma and works up to the halfway line. Tom Hopper holds the ball up well, and then he's caught by Josh Scowen, and the referee Michael Salisbury gives a free kick for Lincoln just shy of the halfway line.
I think it's going to be vital, isn't it, that Lincoln weather this early storm, because the crowd is certainly behind the home team. Players are on the front foot, looking to press, looking to get some momentum into the game. We've talked about all the attacking players on show today, but people like Ledbetter for Sunderland, the experience, and Bridcut for Lincoln, who will just sit in front of that back four, protect, get on the ball, and try and just organise the players around him.
Bridcut, of course, will have a point to prove this afternoon for Lincoln, back on his old stomping ground. Charlie White goes down and wins a free kick, challenged by Monsma out on the left-hand side. So with 3 minutes gone on Talksport 2, 0-0 on the afternoon, still 2-0 on aggregate to the Imps, but Sunderland have a free kick about 25 yards inside the Lincoln half of the field, tight to the left-hand touchline on the far side of the field from us, and Lincoln just holding their defensive line ahead of the 18-yard box, in between that and the edge of the D. And it will be Aidan McGeady to float the ball into the box. High, looping centre. White tries to get a touch, and it's just lifted wide of the post. Tried to run in on it and nod it goalwards without having to jump, but just couldn't get the purchase, and it's a Lincoln goal kick at 0-0.
Yeah, great ball from McGeady, looking for that in-swinging ball, looking between the goalkeeper and the far post, looking for people to get across him. It wasn't Wyke, 9 just couldn't go in the back post, but certainly got to be aware, Lincoln, not to give cheap free kicks away, because McGeady's delivery and the people attacking him in there can be a big threat for Sunderland.
Sunderland's home record was decidedly average in the regular season, winning 9, drawing 8 and losing 6 of their league encounters here at the Stadium of Light, whilst Lincoln, as I mentioned in my introduction, the best away record in League One, with 13 victories on their travels from the LNER. They were top of League One for quite some time, but a poor run post-Christmas saw them slip out of the auto spots, but they were never out of the top 6. They've earned their right to be in the playoffs. Goal kick to Sunderland as Anthony Scully tries to keep the ball in play on the far side of the field by the corner flag, but Lee Burge, who had that unfortunate moment when Flanagan's back pass sold him a little short, and Brennan Johnson ended up scoring the second. He clears his lines. 0-0, 5 minutes gone on Talksport 2. Ball sent up to Ross Stewart, who goes to ground under pressure from Ayoma. One back by Chris Maguire down the Sunderland right. Early ball into the box. Sails over the head of Charlie Wyke, and it's volleyed out of play by Regan Paul under pressure from McGeady. Sunderland throw, and the Roker Roar starts up again.
Yeah, that's what Maguire can do. He gets to this wide right area and he'll put good delivery into the box.
Here's McFadzean trying to drive in field from the left-hand touchline. Looks for a ball into the area from Scowen, headed away by Bridcut, back doing his defending, and it ends up being a too strong a header back from Scowen towards the penalty area and out for a throw. Yeah, Bridcut cost Sunderland £3 million when Gus Poyet bought him to play here at the Stadium of Light. He'd worked with him at Brighton before. Yeah.
I think what Liam does is that solidity in front of the back four, but he also starts the attacks because he's very comfortable on the ball. He wants to sort of lend it to the more advanced players of Grant and Johnson and Rogers on the left and Scully on the right.
Ball's back with Luke O'Nien, who's played in about 9 different positions for Sunderland this season. Centre half today, he was right back on Wednesday in the first leg. 0-0 if you're just tuning into Talksport 2. The League One playoff final, semi-final second leg. 0-0 between Sunderland and Lincoln. 2-0 still on aggregate to the end. Here's Maguire trying to drive the ball across the face of goal, and the ball is screwed behind off TJ Ayoma for Sunderland's first corner of the game at the Roker end, away to our right.
Yeah, it's been all Sunderland, hasn't it? Lincoln, apart from that one half shot from Grant, it's all been Sunderland on the front foot. Balls in from McGeady and Maguire. White looking to get under things. First corner, as you mentioned.
Chris Maguire with this right wing corner for the Black Cats. Plays it into the near post. Might drop for McGeady. Trying to get a shot away, and it's out of play for a goal kick in the end. They're claiming a corner, those in red and white. In fact, it was Scowen who had the final effort, but goal kick it is. Things just calmed down for a couple of seconds around the stands here at Stedwood Light, 0-0.
Yeah, look, the referee's going to play a big part in this as well, because he's going to make sure that he makes the right decisions and not listen to the crowd at times, even though more times than not they'll think he's got the wrong decision when it goes against the home team. But yeah, the game started exactly as we expected. Sunderland to be on the front foot, really pressurising and getting the ball into wide areas, looking for White. 2 centre-backs for Lincoln have got to be certainly aware of his movement, and if he gets half a yard, as his record speaks for this year, he'll take them opportunities.
That's Simon Grayson you can hear alongside me, former Sunderland manager. Took a job at Fleetwood to try and get away from me, but even that didn't work. So he's here with us this afternoon at the Stadium of Light, where we play 7.5 minutes. 0-0 in this semi-final second leg. Sunderland have won the ball back midway point of their own half. Maguire lays it off to the left-sided centre-back Luke O'Nien. Just steps away from Jorge Grant, but Grant's still pressurising him, so he's forced to pass back to Burge. Burge just puts his left foot through it. Long ball downfield. White goes up with Montsma. Good strong header away from Montsma, but it drops in the centre circle for the veteran Sunderland midfielder Grant Ledbetter. Tries to turn away from Tom Hopper. Sticking to him like glue. Won't let him get the pass away. Finally does send the pass downfield, and it's intercepted by Teo Edu, the left back. Goes to ground, wins a free kick off Chris Maguire, just shy of the halfway line. It's 0-0. We've played 8 minutes. A few goals going in elsewhere in the National League. Wrexham 2, Kings Lynn Town 1. Jordan Davis, about half an hour gone in all those games in the National League this afternoon. Now here's Regan Paul coming forward for Lincoln into the area right hand side, and the ball's cleared against him by Scowen, and actually goes out of play away to our left for a Sunderland goal kick. 0-0.
Yeah, Sunderland's slightly switched off there. Free kick, they turn the back. It's got the big diagonal out to Scully on the right hand side, and Poole joining in. Got to make sure that the wide players for Sunderland in McGeady and Maguire do stay with the fullbacks of Lincoln, because them two can join in and cause problems in the top end of the pitch.
Ball's on halfway with Sunderland, and it's Callum McFadzean darting forward. Now plays it back in field for McGeady. McGeady with that hustling running style that's so familiar. Chesterfield equalise against Dagenham and Redbridge. That's a big goal with playoffs in mind in the National League. Danny Rowe makes it 1-1 for the Spyrights. Here's Lyndon Gooch, right hand side, playing it right back today, remember, for Sunderland. Wins a throw off Morgan Rogers, the Manchester City loanee, who's impressed so much since having this big first loan out in league football, and he's put the ball out of play. And it will be a throw. Actually came off Gooch last of all. Morgan Rogers has impressed you this season, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Look, he's scored some fantastic goals, gets it out of his feet, glides across the ground, and he can score goals from distance. I think what Lincoln have done this year, they've utilised the loan market very well from Nottingham Forest, Man City, Tottenham as well. And you have to do, when you go down the lower leagues, you have to make sure that you utilise that loan market, because them sort of players have got quality and they can certainly help you.
You haven't got Pep's number, have you?
He keeps not returning my messages.
Sunderland coming away down the left-hand side with McGeady driving the ball into the box. Stewart and White were in there, but volleyed away with a minimum of fuss by Lewis Montsma. O'Nien retrieves the situation and guides the ball calmly back to Lee Burge at the other end, and Sunderland will try and build again. 10 minutes gone on Talksport 2. 0-0 at the Stadium of Light. Ross Stewart tried to collect the ball, but the ball bounced off his back as he tried to get away down the left-hand side of the box, and Regan Poole sends it downfield for Lincoln. O'Nien and Hopper both collide as they went for the same ball. Hopper stayed down for a moment, just ruffling the side of his head. He must have got caught a little there with that head-to-head challenge, but he's back on his feet. It will be a throw to Sunderland at 0-0, 11 minutes gone.
I think what you're seeing from Lincoln is they don't want to be too high up the pitch. They're quite prepared to let Sunderland have it across the back. When it comes into the crucial midfield areas or wide areas, they do get tight and look to press, and if they manage to win that transition.
Oh, lovely ball from Lyndon Gooch, was just overhit from McGeady. I thought for a moment that was perfectly timed from the American, but it just skipped away from Aidan McGeady and over the dead ball line for a Lincoln goal kick, 0-0.
Yeah, it looked like it was a lovely ball inside the fullback there with McGeady running away from him, but just a slightly too much pace on it. As I mentioned, Lincoln are quite happy to let Sunderland have possession across the back, even around the halfway line, but then when it goes into the wide players, the centre forwards, that's when they go and press, and the pitch is opened up because Sunderland pushing bodies forward, and then they will look to counter-attack very quickly with the pace and quality that they have in the team.
McGeady again for Sunderland, down the left-hand side, looking to take on Grant. Good ball into the middle. Stewart! Sunderland have got one back. Ross Stewart, recalled by Lee Johnson, steers it in at the near post. It is game on Wearside. Sunderland 1, Lincoln 0. Now just 2-1 an aggregate to the Imps.
Well, just as we thought Lincoln were getting through the first 15 minutes, McGeady gets it on the left-hand side, puts a fantastic ball across the 6-yard area, and Stewart gets across the marker, across the centre-back, and side puts it into the back of the net, and obviously you can tell from the action of supporters, this is game on now. We did say that the first goal was going to be crucial, and Sunderland have managed to get it in the first 15 minutes. Now it is a real serious game on.
Ross Stewart with only his third goal of the season. The man signed from up north in Scotland, from Ross County, known to Jack Ross of course, won the Scottish Championship and the Challenge Cup before coming down to the Stadium of Light. That's got to be the biggest goal of his Sunderland career so far, and it's half the deficit on Talksport 2. Now there's belief inside the Stadium of Light. If there was any doubt before kick-off, now they're all full square behind the Black Cats. And the black shirts of Lincoln have got their work cut out here. O'Nien drives the ball across to Lyndon Gooch inside his own half. Plays it into the centre circle where Ledbetter picks it up, just shy of the halfway line. You barely hear yourself think, it's brilliant. Down the right-hand side, it's a chance for Scowen to move. He managed to get the cross in to the near post. He was running out of ground. White working really hard to close down TJ Ayoma. The ball's only gone out for a goal kick to Lincoln. You think it was a corner?
Well, sometimes the supporters, all they love to see is a strike or closing somebody down, or a midfield player take a crunching tackle, and it gets the crowd aroused, and they get certainly a real galvanised atmosphere within the stadium, and that's all it takes sometimes. They've got the opportunity to really try and get this second goal early on in the tie.
Ian Danter and Simon Grayson with you at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland 1, Lincoln 0 on the day. Still 2-1 on aggregate to Lincoln, but they'll be twitching a little in Lincolnshire. You're listening back at home in Lincolnshire to our coverage. They started well, the Imps, but Sunderland have definitely got their tails up now. It's a throw to Lincoln in their left back position. And it'll be Teo Edun to launch it down the line, looking for Hopper, but he was being pulled to the ground by Bailey Wright, and referee Michael Salisbury gives the free kick to the Imps.
I think what the Lincoln players need to do is make sure that they just gather the thoughts, that they don't dwell too much on the ball, they don't allow Sunderland to get that press, and they're closing down from the front and in the midfield areas, as we're seeing now. Stewart and Wyke, and after that here we go.
Oh, Stewart's won it off Monsma, left hand side, plays into the area looking for Wyke. Vital interception by Ayoma, and back comes Regan Poole to help try and complete the job. Gone out of play for a throw, but as with Charlie White not a minute before, now Ross Stewart working really hard up front for Sunderland. 15 gone there, 1-0 up.
Sometimes you just got to manage the game and the situation of the game. It looks like Lincoln at this moment in time is still sort of blown away by the Sunderland start. They should have been expecting it. Maybe not try and play out from the back sometimes for 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes or so. Get it up top, get it the midfield, pick up second balls. But as it stands at this moment in time, they can't get out of their own half.
Here's Lyndon Gooch for Sunderland, being pressurised by Morgan Rogers. In slides Edun with a good challenge. It wasn't particularly liked by those sitting around us in the West Stand, but play continues. Sunderland have won it back. McGeady, whose pinpoint cross found Ross Stewart for the opener on 12 minutes. Chris Maguire, centre of the Lincoln half, strokes the ball out to the near touchline for Lyndon Gooch. Gooch gets to about level with the penalty area, tries to dart in field, but it's one back for Lincoln. Now Morgan Rogers tries to get away from McGeady, but he just toe pokes the ball out of play for a Lincoln City throw. 16 and a half minutes gone on your home of the EFL and the playoffs. Talksport 2, Sunderland 1, Lincoln 0. A reminder that another cracking second leg tie is upcoming on Talksport at tea time. Swansea 1-0 up on Barnsley as everyone heads for the Liberty Stadium. 6:30 kickoff. We're there too, with Nigel Adderley and David Connolly, your commentary team in South Wales, and Dan Windle hosting.
I think there'll come a point, Dance, where Sunderland will have to just take a bit of a breather. They've certainly started extremely quickly, come out the traps, worked and pressed from the front. I'm not sure they'll be able to keep this sort of work rate up, but while you're on the front foot and you're asking questions, you certainly go for the jugular and make sure you try and get that goal, the next goal very quickly if possible.
Well, they're coming to this game 4 without a home win, Sunderland, including a 1-1 draw against Lincoln. McFadzean scored the goal for Sunderland that day from left back, and Callum Morton, who's on the bench for Lincoln today, on loan from West Bromwich Albion, got the equaliser. That was back in late March. Here we are in late May, and it's all about the playoffs. Sunderland need one more goal to bring us level on aggregate. And remember, no such thing as an away goals rule in the EFL. That was abolished 20 years ago now, so if the aggregate score is in any way level at 90 minutes, we have extra time. Long ball forward from Ledbetter, looking for Charlie White. Nods it down well for McGeady. 30 yards out. Back comes Brennan Johnson to help out his defenders and just steal the ball off McGeady. And then it's put out of play for a throw-in on the right-hand side to the Imps, and they can try and calm things down here at the Stadium of Light with 18 minutes gone.
I think when you look at someone like McGeady, you don't want him to stay out in his wide left position. You want him to be able to drift into little pockets, even if it means at times coming over to the right wing, because it unsettles back fours because they don't know where he is, and he has got the ability to unlock defences at any particular time. As I mentioned earlier, he's probably the most talented player that I've worked with, and you do 1 versus 1s, and I can always see defenders joining the back of the queue when he was at the front of the attacking queue rather than deal with him.
That's 15 assists for the season as well there, with what Aidan McGeady's done to set up Ross Stewart's opener. Now O'Nien coming down the left for Sunderland. Lofted ball into the box, and Palmer claims comfortably under no real pressure from either White or Stewart. Just bowls the ball out to Ayoma, who's pulled out to the left-hand side. His ball up to halfway for Lincoln's. Poor touch from Hopper. One back by Scowen. And now McGeady tries to wriggle away from Monsma. Monsma did just enough. Claims for a free kick, not given. And now Anthony Scully out on the right-hand side for Lincoln. Protects the ball from McFadzean. And Bridcut tries to get involved to try and steady things for Lincoln City. But they really are under the cosh here as we approach the 20-minute mark on Talksport 2. Sunderland have the early goal they craved, but they still need another one just to draw level on aggregate with Lincoln City. O'Nien, just inside his own half, bidding his teammates to go forward, flicks his arm out to indicate that he wants a bit more progress down the field from his teammates. Now it's picked up by Ledbetter. Back for O'Nien again. And it's being closed down by Grant. Lovely ball in field to find Chris Maguire. Maguire, slightly heavy touch in midfield, allowed Edun to get a piece of it. But Lyndon Gooch steps in to win the ball back. Just drives in field for Sunderland. That clips a left-footed ball out to McFadzean on the far side of the field. McFadzean turns away from Scully and works it back to Luke O'Nien. Keeping good possession here, Sunderland. Here's Bailey White, the other centre half for the Black Cats, moving into the Lincoln half. Gooch again. Wright's continued down the right hand side if he wants to use him, but instead Gooch clips the ball up to the edge of the area. Stewart knocks it on, White holds it up and it's driven wide. Big chance,
wasn't it?
It was McFadzean coming forward as Ross Stewart won the original header. Charlie White with his bat to goal teed up Callum McFadzean, but he dragged his left-footed shot wide. Goal kick, 1-0 to Sunderland.
Well, you just see Callum McFadzean, who's the left back, looking more or less centrally inside the 18-yard box. That's a dominance that Sunderland have had so far. Looking to play into McGeady's feet, Maguire's feet, but they also have the option of playing up to Wyke, feeding on second balls, getting people around it, and as it stands, Lincoln just cannot get a foothold in this game. Every time they get possession, they seem to give it away. Goes up to Hopper and he's not getting hold of the play.
It's been given away. Here's Charlie White inside the area, goes round the keeper. Can he put it home? It's pushed on the line by Ioma and put over the bar for a corner kick. Charlie White had all the time in the world to bring Sunderland level. He got round the keeper, but TJ Ioma on the line cleared it away.
Oh my, what a chance. As we're talking about there, Lincoln trying to play off the back, gets intercepted. White goes round the goalkeeper, can square it to 3 Sunderland players, decides to take another touch to shoot, gets cleared off the line. What a let-off.
McGeady's corner, punched away by Palmer to the penalty spot. Could have dropped anywhere, but it dropped for Brennan Johnson, who can just hook it downfield. Anywhere will do for Lincoln City at the moment as we approach the midway point of the first half.
What an opportunity, Dance, that is for Sunderland.
White's after a long ball hit downfield this time, but it'll bounce between him and Ioma, and Palmer will pick it up. Charlie White, 25 goals this season, will not have a better chance to make it 26. Took it round Alex Palmer expertly enough, but just seems to delay and dither before he finally gets the shot away.
He could have squared it across, but he's a striker with 25 goals. Why does he want to go and try and get another one to his tally? But if you're going to do that and ignore other players that have got better opportunities at the side of you, you've got to make sure it hits the back of the net. And could Sunderland regret that opportunity, because Lincoln have just been nowhere at it at this moment in time, playing out from the back and getting pressed in the wrong areas. The young players for Lincoln just don't seem to be able to handle the occasion so far, and it's all Sunderland, but this could be a massive boost for Lincoln and a massive let-off for them.
Ian Danter and Simon Grayson with you on Talksport 2 at the Stadium of Light, midway through the first half. 1-0 to Sunderland, therefore 2-1 on aggregate to Lincoln. It's congratulations to St Johnstone, who've secured a cup double in Scotland, beating Hibernian by 1-0. Here's Lyndon Gooch for Sunderland meantime, right hand side, up against Morgan Rogers. Has to go back into square to Scowen, and further back to a halfway line, and Grant Ledbetter. He's being pressurised by Jorge Grant. Bailey Wright rides the challenge of Grant. Referee waves play on. Scowen again for Sunderland. Gooch calling for it on this near touchline, midway point of the half, looking to take the ball around Rogers, but Morgan Rogers is a tall, willowy man. Easily managed to wrestle the ball back off Lyndon Gooch there. And Rogers is on the burst down the left hand side, but can't keep the ball in play. Brendan Johnson tried to find him. It's really the first time we've seen Lincoln trying to attack inside the Sunderland half for about 10 minutes.
They can't just put 4 or 5 passes together, can they? They all just seem to nearly get there, and when you wanted players that would be able to run with the ball and carry up the pitch, Scully and Morgan Rogers, not quite happening from this moment in time. They've got to make sure they get through this period. What we're talking 24 minutes of the game dancing, it's absolutely flown by, hasn't it?
Certainly has. It was compelling listening on Talksport earlier with the Championship semi-final second leg between Brentford and Bournemouth. Brentford winning 3-1 against 10-man Bournemouth. Chris Mepham back in Brentford, sent off in the first half, and the Bees are through to the final to play either Swansea or Barnsley. You'll hear that second leg between the Swans and the Tykes, 6:30 on Talksport tonight.
Playoffs are fantastic, aren't they? Massive invention. It's been brilliant. I was at Leeds as a teenager when I think Leeds and Charlton were the first ones where it was the bottom of the division above played the third place in the division below, and since then I've had experiences, highs and lows as a player and as a manager. It just keeps the season alive, doesn't it? And the atmosphere is absolutely brilliant.
Gripping for the neutral, gut wrench for the partisan supporter. It's the playoffs, and we have it exclusively across the Talksport network, including all 3 finals across the Whitsun Bank Holiday weekend. Next Saturday be the Championship, and then Sunday League One and Bank Holiday Monday League Two all take their turn at the National Stadium.
But the playoffs are the best way to get promoted, by winning at Wembley, but if you lose, it's a horrible feeling as well.
Losing a semi-final's not great, I can tell you from 3 experiences of that I can remember.
I've had that a few times as well.
In the late 90s, early 2000s. So 26 minutes gone, Sunderland in possession at the edge of their own penalty area. They're a goal to the good here, but they need another one to draw level on aggregate with Lincoln City, who I bet some of the players are looking up at the clock and wondering when it's going to get to half-time. 26 it says up there, plenty of time before half-time. Scowen out to the left-hand side to find the mercurial Aidan McGeady, one-on-one with Regan Poole, gets round him, the cross into the near post has to be tucked behind by Lewis Montemer for another Sunderland corner at the Roker end. 1-0 they lead.
Again McGeady, little step over, gets half a yard, puts the ball in, and if you know he's coming in as early as McGeady puts it in there, White can make his run, Stewart can make his run. On that particular occasion, Monster got across there and put it out for a corner, but they certainly have to stop the source and make sure you're alert in the 18-yard box.
Packed 6-yard box for this in-swinging corner from McGeady. Gets to the far post and it's headed wide by Bailey Wright, trying to get up above the 2 Lincoln defenders, but just couldn't apply the direction he wanted. And Lincoln City have themselves a goal kick.
They got the referee telling Alex Palmer already about his potential time wasting.
Well, the Sunderland fans were booing that in the second minute. Yeah. Never mind the 27th. But you're right, the referee Michael Salisbury's just had a quiet word in the Lincoln goalkeeper's ear. Pulls out a play for a throw to Lincoln City. Rogers went down under pressure from Lyndon Gooch. And Michael Salisbury has only given out 1 red card this season to Nathan Collins of Stoke City back in October, dropping down to League One for this fixture.
His dad's is Graham Salisbury, isn't it? And the ex-referee, maybe he was just retired this year.
There you go. Yeah, it runs in the family. He was at Wembley as well doing the FA Vars final that I commentated on between Consett and Heaven Town just a few weeks ago, Michael Salisbury. And as with anybody who's reffing a game in these playoffs with purely partisan support in the grounds, he's got one heck of a job on his hands.
Yeah.
28 minutes gone, it's 1-0 to Sunderland. Ian Dancher and Simon Grayson with you at the Stadium of Light. Ross Stewart with the opener for the Black Cats inside 15 minutes, and it's been all Sunderland. Lincoln though have won themselves a free kick. Bridcut back on his old stomping ground, plays a quick free kick through the centre circle for Grant. He lays it off to Edoun. Now Morgan Rogers, decent ball in field. Edoun is caught by Bailey Wright. Free kick where you heard the sharp intake of breath and Simon Grayson alongside me. The locals don't like it, but a free kick it is for Lincoln City.
Look, a few years ago that tackle would have been fine, but I think at this day and age, Bailey Wright just sliding in, got the ball but just caught the man at the same time. I don't think there's anything sinister in it. I don't even think he'll get a yellow card off the back of it, but your first reaction at time is, well, if that goes wrong, that could be it's going to make a decision for the referee have to make, but he's going to get a strong word, I think, to him as Bailey. And
yeah, he's getting a lecture. He's getting the full dissertation from Michael Salisbury.
I think Lincoln will be quite happy with this. It's just giving them a bit of a breather, time to compose themselves and sort of find out where they are at this moment in time.
Simon Grayson, you can hear alongside me here at the Stadium of Light. So Lincoln had this free kick almost at the midway point of the Sunderland half to the left of centre, and Sunderland holding their defensive line just ahead of the 18-yard box. There's a 2-man wall that's behind the old shading foam that Michael Salisbury's put down 10 yards away from where the ball is, and it's going to be Jorge Grant over this free kick, a right-footed in-swinger to try and take it towards goal. In it comes from Grant, the heads go up, it's Wright that heads it clear. Ledbetter helps it on, but it's won back by Brennan Johnson. Lead drop of the shoulder to work it in field for Edoun. Edoun got caught in 2 minds there, ended up lofting it into no man's land down the right-hand side of the penalty area and cleared downfield for Sunderland. And it's won back by Liam Bridcut, and Ayoma has got Ross Stewart herring after him, so he had to get rid of that ball quickly, and he did, to the left back Teo Edoun. Up to halfway, Edoun is not being closed down, finds Grant just in front of the Sunderland technical area where Lee Johnson is there, Hands behind his back, watching events unfold. He'll be happy enough that Sunderland are 1-0 up. But here come Lincoln with Edoun, driving across from left to right. Overhit though for Anthony Scully. 2 or 3 bounces and it's out on the far side for a Sunderland throw. 1-0, Sunderland lead. We've played half an hour, but it's 2-1 on aggregate to Lincoln City.
At least there for Lincoln, they had a little bit of sustained pressure, got more than 5 passes together, worked it out to this left-hand side, and then when you wanted a decent ball into the box to give Hopper an opportunity, Edoun just puts it needlessly out of play on the far side, and Lincoln have got to do a little bit more of that, not play in the wrong areas, but try and get a few passes involved to take the sting out of the game, because Sunderland are certainly pressing well.
Well, Ross Stewart now trying to close down Alex Palmer, the Lincoln goalkeeper, as the ball is rolled back to him, but a good strong clearance downfield from Palmer's right boot. Drops though on the halfway line, and Sunderland win it back. Ooh, clash of heads was that between Ledbetter and Ayoun. It's actually hurt Ledbetter and one of his teammates there. Edoun's got back to his feet, but it will be a free kick to Sunderland. Bang on halfway, and you heard another sharp intake of breath from Simon Grayson.
Oh, it's worse when you actually, I'm going for the challenges all day long when I play, but when you're watching things, you're thinking, oh, that's a bit. Hopefully nobody's injured there, but you saw Edoun go for the challenge. And,
you've got a sensitive in your old age.
Yeah, maybe I'm getting a bit too soft. Maybe I'm maybe gonna have to stop my sharp intakes of breath and just let players go.
No, I love it. It tells me all I need to know. If you're doing a sharp intake of breath. Free kick then to Sunderland on just over halfway, 13 to half time on Talksport 2, and it's Grant Ledbetter over the free kick, clips it to the edge of the area, the heads go up at the far post, it's broken for Aidan McGeady, left hand side of the box, he's up against Anthony Scully, goes on the outside of him, ball to the far post, it's in, it's Charlie Wyke, it's 2-2 on aggregate, they've made it 2-0 just after the half hour. He missed such an easy chance not 10 minutes ago, but he sticks out a long telescopic right leg to poke it home, and Charlie Wyke brings Sunderland level on aggregate. Pandemonium around the Stadium of Light. It's 2-0 on the day, 2-2 on aggregate.
Well, the major double act of this football club, McGeady and Wyke, is certainly there again, aren't we? Talking about McGeady, gets half a yard, puts it in his 6-yard box. Charlie Wyke knows that it's coming into that area, gets his long leg and gets something on it, and accepts the more difficult opportunity of scoring a goal that he did, 5-10 minutes ago. So certainly Sunderland deserve to be 2-0 up, and
Cruyff turned from Lee Burge.
God, he's confident to do that after the other night, isn't he?
Well, after the moment where Tom Flanagan passed the ball back to him and he hit it straight against Brennan Johnson, what he did there, he did a Cruyff turn under pressure from Tom Hopper and cleared the ball downfield. So we're all square on Talksport 2. Sunderland have cancelled out the deficit inside 35 minutes, and they're hungry for more. Down the right hand side, it's Chris Maguire trying to play a 1-2 with Gooch, but out comes Liam Bridcut to put it out for a throw. But Lincoln are so on the back foot here. Sunderland fans out their seats, arms aloft, loving every second of this. And it's going to be a long throw that Luke O'Nien is going to send into the Lincoln City box here. Ross Stewart at the near post to try and win the first flick on. In it comes from O'Nien, over Stewart's head. Palmer claims it, drops it, but then catches it at the second attempt under a bit of pressure from Bailey Wright. Oh, this is breathless stuff. Just over 10 to the break. 2-0 to Sunderland, 2-2 on aggregate.
Yeah, look, it's been, we keep mentioning, it's been Sunderland for 35 minutes nearly now. Lincoln have not put too many passes together, not been able to weather the storm when Sunderland have been coming and being relentless to attacking and pressing and closing down from the front. They've got to sort of make sure they get to half time at least 2-2 in the tie and regather the thoughts what they need to do. Michael get into the team and just use his experience to maybe talk to some of the younger players who've probably not been able to deal with this situation. You look at Sunderland's team, lots of experience, McGeady, Maguire, Wyke, Ledbetter, Scowen, Bailey Wright. They're far more experienced with playing in the bigger games, and you could see that today.
Just saw that from Teo Edoun, didn't we, Simon, at the left back, trying to play the ball down the left hand side, but just rushed it and shanked it straight out of play, the young 22-year-old. Here he is again, leaving the ball for Rogers. Ball infield, can't find Brennan Johnson, but Rogers was caught by Scowen anyway as he released the ball. So referee Salisbury gives the free kick to the Imps just shy of the halfway line. It's wave after wave after wave.
First yellow card.
Sunderland attacks, and a yellow card for Josh Gowan for that challenge on Morgan Rogers as he released the ball. Well spotted, Simon Grayson. Spotter's badge for you.
Well, I was going to give I need to take a breath, but I thought I'll just save them for another occasion. But yeah, they need to weather this next 10 minutes or so. Lincoln getting at least 2-2 on the tie, regather the thoughts, get a few passes in. The left back Edun seems I don't think he's got a pass to his teammates so far. I think he's struggled in this game so far, but it's a learning experience for these Lincoln players at this moment in time, and you might see a different second half. Well, certainly the Lincoln supporters and Michael Appleton will be desperate to see a different Lincoln City team.
Palmer, the Lincoln goalkeeper, clears downfield under a bit of pressure from Chris Maguire. Won back though for Lincoln, and Morgan Rogers tries to stretch his legs and get over halfway. He's won a throw. Played the ball into Tom Hopper. It was put out of play by Bailey Wright. You can see that Morgan Rogers wants to get motoring down that left-hand side for Lincoln.
Yeah, what the first thought is he wants to take you up the pitch, he wants to carry up because he's a good attacking wide player, and he wants to try and get at Lyndon Gooch. He isn't a more recognised right back, but he hasn't had the opportunities to do that where he's had the space and time to go and run into them areas.
Going to Lincoln midway inside the Sunderland half. Down this near side, the Lincoln left as they attack the north stand here at the Stadium of Light in this first half. Time ticking away, 8 minutes plus added time to the break. Can you tell the Sunderland are doing all right? I think you probably can, based on the noise around us here at the Stadium of Light. They're 2-0 up this afternoon. That makes it 2-2 on aggregate. We are all square in this League One playoff semi-final. How can you not love the playoffs on Talksport and Talksport 2?
Well, try telling that to the losing teams that will come out of these playoffs and still in the same division or not even get the opportunity to visit Wembley.
Right,
but they are fantastic.
Anthony Scully almost presented the ball straight to Ross Stewart, but recovered the situation in the end. A throw for Lincoln, and again, just a slight pause and a slight breath being drawn in the Stadium of Light here. So everyone looks to recover their composure for a moment, and that's certainly something that Lincoln City need to do. Find their composure. 7 minutes to half time. Their throw up to halfway. Hopper heads it infield. Brennan Johnson helps it on. Grant loses out to the other Grant Ledbetter. Sends a long ball downfield. It won't find Stewart, but it's picked up by Scowen, but a heavy touch allows Edun to clear it for Lincoln up to halfway. He'll get it again, the left back. Just slows the game down for a moment and passes infield to Liam Bridcut. Oh, and that's a heavy challenge by Lyndon Gooch on Jorge Grant, and that's a free kick to Lincoln City right down on the touchline, left-hand side, almost at the midway point of the Sunderland half.
Yeah, just a little bit late there, wasn't he, Lyndon? Sort of, Rogers played the ball inside. He just caught him probably what you would class as an attacker's tackle rather than a defender's tackle.
Well, Grant's going to be in charge of this free kick for the Imps. Not many people committing through the centre of the field. He's actually played it short for Bridcut. They've worked it down the left-hand side for Morgan Rogers. Tight to the touchline. Gets Edun away on the overlap. Edun pulls it back to the edge of the area. It's Brennan Johnson. It's blocked on its way to goal by Bailey Wright. It's won back by Jorge Grant. Grant has a go from distance, and it goes out via a deflection for Lincoln's first corner of the game. But Brennan Johnson had a sighter from 25 yards there for Lincoln.
Yeah, first attack of real importance from Lincoln there. Good player. Edun gets down this left-hand side. You're looking to probably fizz it across that 6-yard box, but what he's done well is picked Johnson out, who's coming in from the edge of the box. He's scored quite a few goals this season from that late run into the box, and got blocked, went out for a corner.
Grant's corner, right-footed in swinger for Lincoln to the 6-yard line. Sunderland get it clear. It drops though for Edun. Round about the centre point of the Sunderland half. He's challenged by Maguire, who's won it back. Ledbetter tries to release McGeady down the right-hand side. He holds the ball up on halfway. Looks infield and hits a diagonal, trying to pick out Ross Stewart. Will Stewart get there first? He's got there, and the keeper has not brought him down. Stewart went to ground at the the right-hand corner of the box with Alex Palmer, the Lincoln keeper, right behind him. But referee Michael Salisbury was right on the spot and said nothing doing, Simon Grayson.
Well, from this point of view, you think he's probably caught him, hasn't it? But referee's in a fantastic position. Well, we haven't got a replay to see it, but you've got to give the referee the credit that he's right on top of it, and he's the one that's...
McGeady into the area, ball but out of play for a corner kick, is it? It is, it came off Montsma last of all. Yeah, this is a VAR free zone in the EFL, and long may it rain as such. So no chance for Michael Salisbury to get another view on that penalty. He's called it as he's seen it.
Yeah, he was in a very good position. I think he's only 10-15 yards away from him, and made the call.
Well, McGeady's gone across to take another corner where the East stand meets the Roker stand, away to our right hand side. Just rolls his socks up for a moment. McGeady, not quite such a packed 6-yard box. They're all running in from the edge of the area. Hopper heads it clear from McGeady's corner. Brought down out the sky by Maguire, works it back infield to Ledbetter. Ledbetter urged to shoot from 50 yards out, goes for goal, and Palmer holds it. That was ambitious from Grant Ledbetter. Got it on target though. Yeah. Still 2-0 to Sunderland.
Very surprised to see Grant trying to hit something from there. He's not renowned for his goal scoring exploits, from not 35-40 yards, but at least he got it on target and made Alex Palmer make a save.
Now you say this is a learning experience for the Lincoln players, but when you bear in mind they were top for they've been above Sunderland most of the season. So, you know, they've got the experience of knowing how to maintain a position in the table.
Yeah, but they've not been playing in front of 10,000 fanatical Sunderland supporters. They've not been in a position where they've got the playoff opportunity to get to Wembley, resting on the shoulders as well. So, yes, with full credit to Lincoln, they've been very good this season and done what they've needed to do to win games. But this is a different environment when you're in the playoffs, away from home, and suddenly you're 1-0 down in a two-legged tie very early on in the game. You've got people like McGeady and White up against you. You've got to make sure that you weather the storm and learn from experiences.
McFadzean trying to get away down the left-hand side for Sunderland. There is a foul spotted by the referee. Just over 2 minutes plus added time to half-time on Talksport 2. Sunderland 2, Lincoln City 0. Both Sunderland strikers have notched in this first period. Stewart and White bringing us level on aggregate. And Lincoln have got themselves a free kick at the right-hand corner of their own penalty area. Struck downfield by Palmer. Looking for Tom Hopper on the right-hand side. It's kept in play by O'Nien. Scowen hooks it over halfway. Goes over the head of White. Sent back downfield by TJ Ayoma for Lincoln. Hopper goes up to try and win another header for the Imps. But Sunderland are winning all the second balls at the minute.
Yeah, it's good old Hopper and Bailey Wright and Luke O'Nien are certainly dominating. Hopper has not been able to get with his fair share of headers, not be able to run down the sides of them. They cannot get a base to play from Lincoln. It's going up to the striker and it's not been able to get hold of it. And if your striker's not getting hold of it, it doesn't allow midfield players or wide players to get the opportunity to run and carry up the pitch and take the pressure off you.
Oh, and now Bridcut has fouled Stewart around 25 yards out, quite a way to the right of centre, but it does present Sunderland here with a free kick opportunity as we enter the last minute of the first half. Would favour a left-footed effort on goal from this side to the right of centre. McGeady's gone over. Maguire is standing over the free kick as well, and the referee just pacing out the yardage to put the vanishing spray down.
Yeah, both of them are talented dead ball specialists, aren't they? Maguire. Both of them look like it's probably going to be McGeady. Is he going to go for over the wall and the near post there, or is he going to try and whip it across? He could even actually disguise it and dink it to the far post because they were expecting them to shoot.
Well, the Wolves guarding the near post. Palmer is just to the right of centre in his goal. McGeady steps up right footed over the wall and it goes just wide of the post. Hits that stanchion behind the goal, the long red pole that holds the net up, and then hit the back of the net. There were one or two inside the Stadium of Light who thought just for one moment that was 3-0 on the day, but it's a goal kick in the end.
You can give Alex Palmer a bit of credit that he wasn't desperate to get across to make a save there. He was always going wide from his perspective. But we're going to be going into injury time now. A couple of minutes. Again, Lincoln Lincoln just need to make sure they get to half-time as a scoreline that it is, and give them an opportunity to address a few situations that can get themselves back into this game.
We're into 2 minutes of minimum stoppage time at the end of this first half. League One, playoff semi-final second leg. Sunderland 2, Lincoln 0. That's 2-2 then on aggregate in another thrilling playoff encounter, just like we had earlier over on Talksport with Brentford seeing off Bournemouth. Now Anthony Scully trying to keep the ball in play down the right hand side as Lincoln send the ball forward, but the ironic cheers around us will tell you that he couldn't catch up with it in time, and it's a Sunderland throw. Torquay 2, Barnet 2 in the second half. Torquay trying to get back in touch with Sutton United at the top of the National League. Sutton play tomorrow against Stockport, but Thessaloniki Kafalas has equalised for Barnet, who are bottom of the table, no relegation of course. That could be Torquay's automatic hopes over this afternoon. In stoppage time here at the Stadium of Light, guided back neatly by Aoma to his keeper Palmer. Palmer, left-footed clearance. Can Rogers keep it in play? He does, quite superbly, bringing the ball down out of the sky, and finds Jorge Grant in field. And then Johnson looked for Tom Hopper over the halfway line, but Tom Hopper just couldn't control it. One back by Sunderland. We're in the second minute of added time here on Talksport 2. Bailey Wright will give the ball back to his keeper, will he? No, he just passes to his right for Lyndon Gooch. Gooch floats the ball downfield. It's headed up in the air by Edun, brought down out the sky by Ross Stewart. Maguire slips as he turns and tries to fire the ball down the Sunderland right. It's worked back in field by Edun to Bridcut, but again it won't stick with Tom Hopper up front, and the referee blows his whistle, and the Roker roar rings around the Stadium of Light at half-time, because Sunderland have cancelled out Lincoln's lead from the first leg in the first 45 minutes. And it's their twin-pronged strike force that's done the business in this first 45 minutes. Ross Stewart with the opener on 12 minutes. Charlie White got the second just after the half hour. Both goals assisted by the assist king of League One, Aidan McGeady, and Michael Appleton has got one heck of a team talk on his hands now to keep Lincoln in this tie, because Sunderland and the Black Cats, they've definitely got their tails up. Half time, Sunderland 2, Lincoln 0. Thanks Russ. Back here at the Stadium of Light then, there is a double change being readied by Michael Appleton. Joe Walsh and Conor McGrandles are on the touchline, and Lewis Monsma is making way for Joe Walsh at the back, wearing number 16, and Anthony Scully is being sacrificed to allow a more defensive midfield player in Conor McGrandles to come on to replace him. That's something you and I were definitely talking about at the break, about who could be sacrificed to allow Lincoln to have a slightly stronger midfield.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it before the game that you thought McGrandles might actually play in there, given that solidity in there, but they wanted to try and get that first goal, which would have certainly made it very difficult for Sunderland. Now they've got to get a foothold back in the game. They've got to make sure they retain the ball better, to make sure that they stop the source, the ball get into the people like McGeady and Maguire. So it's going to be interesting now who starts the quickest and the best in this second half now.
We're underway then on Talksport 2 for this second period. Sunderland in their traditional red and white stripes, black shorts, red socks, heading towards the north stand in the second half away to our left. Lincoln in their change strip of black shirts, white shorts, black socks, heading for the Roker end to our right. And I'll run you through the revised lineups in just a moment. Brennan Johnson trying to loft the ball down the Lincoln right for Regan Poole. Poole looks to send McGrandles away. McGrandles, he won the ball by the touchline. He's won a corner for Lincoln City early in this second half at the Roker Inn. I think he wanted a foul further towards the penalty area than the corner he's been given here.
Yeah, look, we've seen Johnson move from his central midfield area up to the right hand side. McGrandles coming into midfield, who will still get forward. He's got the legs, got the energy to do that, and he showed that. Good start for Lincoln, got a few more passes in and resulted in this corner.
George Grant with the corner for Lincoln to around the 6-yard box. It might drop at the area from Joe Walsh. He tried to hook it goalwards and it hit the chest of Luke O'Nien, and Sunderland got it clear. Headed back on the halfway line and won back strongly for Lincoln City by Regan Poole. Grant again on the right hand side, looks to play it on the underlap to Brennan Johnson, who's fighting hard to try and win the ball off McFadzean, and then a foul by Brennan Johnson gives Sunderland a free kick in their left back position. So the lineups: Burge is the Sunderland goalkeeper, Gooch, White, O'Nien and McFadzean in front of him, Ledbetter, Scowen, Maguire and McGeady in midfield, Wyke and Stewart the two goal scorers up front. For Lincoln now it's Palmer in goal, Paul, Walsh, Ayoma and Edun at the back, McGrandles, Bridcut and Grant in midfield, Johnson, Hopper and Rogers the front three. Speculative effort from Chris Maguire. Pisses over the crossbar from a good 30 yards out as he gets an early sight of the Scot in this second half for Sunderland.
It was a better start from Lincoln, wasn't it, that they've actually got some controlled possession, they've asked questions, and rather than being this sea of noise from the Sunderland supporters, it's a little bit quieter than you're expecting, because Lincoln have sort of had the better start to this first half.
Bridcut slipped slightly in the centre of his own half. Grant had to send the ball back to Alex Palmer, and his clearance was somewhat hurried and drifted out of play on the far side of the field for a Sunderland throw. And since the inception of the playoffs, only 3 times in the history of the third tier has a team come back from a 2-goal plus deficit in the first leg to make it to the final. The last team that did it was Yeovil Town against Nottingham Forest back in 2007. My cousin remembers that well. He was there in the away end.
Who won the final
that day? Yeovil won the final as well. Oh no, they didn't. Of course it had.
Blackpool,
I do. But that was the last time it came back from 2 goals.
It just shows you, doesn't it? This will be a remarkable performance by Sunderland, and you wouldn't put them past it to get another goal and get the 3-2 lead.
2-0 then on the day with 3 minutes gone in the second half. That makes it all square on aggregate. Extra time as it stands. Here's Morgan Rogers cutting infield for Lincoln from the left hand side, drills the ball along the deck out to this near side to Regan Poole. Poole into the area, finds Tom Hopper running outside the box now, gives it back to Poole, looking to take on McFadzean, sends it actually to the right hand corner of the box for Morgan Rogers. Rogers has got Hopper on the overlap. Hopper's cross drops on the near post. It might go anywhere. It's pinballing around the box, and then Sunderland gets it clear up to Ross Stewart, who lays it off very neatly to Charlie White. And now it's brought forward by Maguire. Just turns for a moment and steps inside and sends it back to Lyndon Gooch. Long ball downfield from Ledbetter, flicked on by Ross Stewart. One bounce and it's through to Alex Palmer. But that was the first nervy moment we've seen at the back from Sunderland all game, Simon.
Yeah, look, this is a Lincoln team that we've been used to over the course of the season. First half, we were a shadow of the team that have got them into the top 2 for large parts and ended up in the playoffs. Second half so far, they've played a lot better. The controlled possession, getting more opportunities, getting people further
Lovely
forward.
Ball from Bridcut out to the right hand side for Regan Poole. The cross for Lincoln's deflected behind by McFadzean for a corner kick to Lincoln on the right hand side at the Roker end. Nearly 5 minutes gone in the second half. We are all square on aggregate in this League One semi-final second leg in the EFL playoffs. Brilliant entertainment.
You could just sense there's a little bit of nervousness about the place. We're only 5 minutes into the second half, but Lincoln have started it ever so well.
George Grant with the corner onto the 6-yard line, and it's headed off the bar. I think it was Joe Walsh up from the back who got the header on it. It went into the turf, came up and hit the crossbar, and Sunderland survive a scare.
Yeah, great ball in, and Walsh attacked it, headed it down at the top end of the bar and then got cleared away, but again that anxiousness just...
Grant's next corner into the near post is headed away by Gooch, drops for Bridcut at the edge of the area, tried to fire it into the box, still not quite clear for Sunderland. Anywhere will do. Bit of panic stations at the back for Sunderland for a change, and they just whack the ball downfield for Alex Palmer to claim. And so the Lincoln substitute, not long on the field, Joe Walsh, so close to putting Lincoln back ahead on aggregate. Here's Brendan Johnson down the right hand side for the Imps. Lovely run, gets to the byline, goes down under pressure. No penalty, says the official. Michael Salisbury looked straight to his assistant, who was looking at that, and he just awarded a goal kick, did the assistant on this near side. Johnson remonstrates with him. Luke O'Nien says Johnson should get a yellow card for simulation, and the referee wants a word with the Lincoln number 20.
Well, first reaction was that he's gone down when really he could have maybe stayed on his feet. looks like he's going to get a yellow card. Not for the dive, but I think it's more for the descent potentially afterwards. Yeah, yellow card. I think it was one of them decisions, Dan, that the referee looked across to his assistant. He didn't make a decision for him, so he had to make the decision for everybody, and he decided that it was a dive. Yeah, given where the free kick's being taken, he's booked in for the dive, and fair play to referee. He's made the call, hasn't he?
Straight across to the assistant on this near side for his opinion, and the assistant, he flagged for a goal kick. Johnson booked, so one on each side have seen a yellow card. Scammon for Sunderland. Ball's out of play, and Sunderland have themselves a throw in their left back position. It's a free kick actually been given to Sunderland in there, just over the halfway line. They're taking it quickly. Ledbetter finds Lyndon Gooch looking to take on Adrian. One-on-one goes past him, tries to get the cross in, but it's blocked by Morgan Rogers back helping out his left back. But Lincoln's clearance doesn't reach halfway. Here's McGeady, just a lofty ball into the box, trying to find Charlie White, but it's over here. One bounce and it's through to Alex Palmer. 7 minutes gone in the second half on Talksport 2. It's Sunderland 2, Lincoln 0 on the day, 2-2 on aggregate. Simon Gray.
Yeah, been a good start from Lincoln. They've had a lot more control possession, asking more questions than they ever have done in the first 45 minutes of Sunderland's back four. Sunderland have not had to been able to get the ball to McGeady and Maguire in the key areas that they had on the first half, where they were able to put balls into the box for fun for Stewart and White, which ultimately resulted in the goals for them.
Brennan Johnson tries to control it down the right hand side, but Sunderland loft it clear. George Grant wins it back for Lincoln and finds Edun just over the halfway line. McGrandles pulls out to the left hand side and wins a throw for Lincoln City. Midway point of the Sunderland half. Bit of a wrestling match with Lyndon Gooch as he tries to get the loose ball. Not quite as many afters here as I could hear were going on at the Brentford Community Stadium at lunchtime. Jim Proudfoot and Matt Holland on commentary for Talksport. Jim did say this is guaranteed not to end 11 against 11, and he was dead right. About 10 minutes after he said it, Chris Mepham gets a straight.
Yeah, that was early on, wasn't it, in the game? So a good big call that from Matt early on in the game to call out. Yeah.
Ended up 3-1 to Brentford. They're in the Championship final to play either Swansea or Barnsley, who meet for their second leg on Talksport at 6:30 tonight. Nigel Adderley, David Connolly and host Dan Windle, your team at the Liberty Stadium. Remember, it's 1-0 to Swansea from that first leg. Lincoln in possession with McGrandles. Good shielding of the ball and works it out to this right-hand side for Johnson. Pulls on the overlap. Johnson went for goal from the right-hand corner of the box. Ambitious from the Forest low knee, and it strikes the leg of Sunderland playing out for a throw.
He's done well, McGrandles, hasn't he? He's influenced the game since he came on at half-time. He's getting hold of the ball. He's keeping it ticking over. He's making the forward runs and played a big part in this start to the second half that Lincoln have had, where they're certainly the dominant team.
I was really surprised that he didn't start today, but Michael Appleton just clearly wanted to stay on the front foot. Didn't work out for him. McGrandles is on, and Lincoln are trying to push forward. Kept in play by Morgan Rogers. Good skill from the youngster. Gets to about 30 yards out. Tries to clip it in field to Hopper, and he was caught as he released the ball. And the referee's given a free kick to Lincoln in the centre of the Sunderland half that they want to take quickly, but the referee's saying no, it's going to be taken from the right place.
You go back to that decision. You talk about Michael. Does he change a winning team? Well, sometimes it's very difficult to do that because you've got the trust in the players that have got you the 2-0 victory in the first leg. And you could have brought McGrandles into the team and still lost the first half 2-0. So it's sometimes.
Morgan Rogers down the left-hand side of the box for Lincoln, plays it to the near post and headed behind for a corner kick. It was scoured at the near post, and so Lincoln have their fourth corner of the game at the Roker end away to our right. We've played 10 minutes of the second half, and this is the best we've seen from the Imps all game. They're 2-0 down, but they're still level on aggregate. Remember, it's 2-2. But Lincoln have a corner on the far side. Grant swings it in looking for Hopper. Tom Hopper. Lincoln are back in front. They're 3-2 up on aggregate. George Grant with a corner and Tom Hopper unmarked at the far post with a bullet header that Lee Burge couldn't keep out, and Sunderland are back on the back foot at the Stadium of Light. It's 2-1 to Sunderland on the day, but it's now 3-2 to Lincoln on aggregate. Tom Hopper
Well, it's what Lincoln deserved. They've been far better in this opening 10 minutes of the second half. They've kept the ball, they've asked questions. Great ball into the box. I'm not quite sure who was supposed to be marking Hopper from the corner, but he's got free in there and planted a header past Lee Burgeon. We've seen the Sunderland crowd dumbfounded by it now, are they? It's nothing that Lincoln haven't deserved, because they've been totally the best team in this second half, totally dominated by Sunderland in the first half. Now it's game on, isn't it? How's Sunderland going to react? Are they going to get a foothold back in the game and take the game back to Lincoln like they did in the first?
He hadn't scored since February before the goal he got in the first leg at the LNER Stadium. Now it's 2-2 for Tom Hopper, and Lincoln are back in front on aggregate here at the Stadium of Light. They trail at the moment on the day, but they have that one goal advantage for a 3-2 aggregate scoreline. Remember, away goals do not count double, so Sunderland only need one goal to force extra time. As it stands, ball's gone out of play, and I guess based on what we've just seen, Simon Grace, in these 11 minutes of the second half, you could argue that Lincoln deserved that goal.
Yeah, definitely. I thought they started this second half really, really well. Even there, you saw Morgan Rogers closing down the fullback, where first half it was a Sunderland front four that were closing down and pressing. Well, it's roles reversed in this first opening 12-13 minutes for Lincoln. They've been dominant. McGeady hasn't really had an influence on this second half yet, but we're in for a very, very exciting 30-odd minutes plus.
Talksport 2, you're home with the EFL and the playoffs. It's sent in from the right-hand side for Sunderland, headed away by Grant, picked up by Erdoun, who's driving in field, and he's got Brennan Johnson in acres of space to find over the halfway line. Johnson will pick it up. There's plenty funneling back in red and white striped shirts. Johnson hits a lovely diagonal ball to pick out McGrandles, left-hand side of the area, just chests it outside the box to keep control. Support from Morgan Rogers. First time ball dinked down the left-hand side of the box for Erdoun, and he wins a corner off Ledbetter, and Lincoln really look much more menacing in this second half. Another corner to the Imps.
They just look a completely different team, don't they? I think they got blown away the first half, maybe a little bit overawed as well, but now it's going into Hopper. He's holding it up where first half he didn't give that opportunity for the wide players and midfield players to secure it and give them opportunities to get up the pitch and showcase their attacking talents.
Grant's corner again deep to the far post, but goes over everybody. It's hit too strongly by George Grant, and it's not kept in play either by Regan Poole, so Sunderland have themselves a throw-in right next to their own corner flag, left-hand side in their own half, as they defend the Roker end in this second period. Talksport 2 at the Stadium of Light.
We've been quite fortunate, haven't we, Dance, that we're the right-hand side of the Stadium Light pitch, and all the action has been at this half, from the first half to the second half.
It's very true. We are more towards the Roker end than the North Stand end in our commentary position, right at the top of the West Stand. It's a proper bird's eye view of the players down beneath us, possibly the highest view that I commentate from around the country. Can't miss a thing up here. Ross Stewart picks the ball up for Sunderland, feeds the ball into Chris Maguire. Gooch moving up on the right hand side for Sunderland. Diagonal ball into the box. That should be a comfortable claim for Alex Palmer, and it is, and he falls to the ground. Chesterfield are back in front against Dagenham and Redbridge. All the other teams around them in the National League in that fight for a playoff place were winning early, but Danny Rowe has scored a late penalty for the Spyrights, so they could be heading back into the top 7. With Notts County, Wrexham, Eastleigh and FC Halifax Town and Bromley all scrapping for a playoff place with 1 week to go after today in the National League season. And at the top, remember, Torquay, they're 2-2 at the moment, so 2 points behind Sutton, who play tomorrow. Sutton can clinch the title tomorrow. Oh,
it's great for Sutton to get back into the Football League, and then you have the drama of the National League playoffs all to come, and it's a different situation and a format that they have, but they're just equally as exciting.
Of course, Sutton will have to do a Harrogate and change that pitch.
Oh, they are 3G, 4G pitch.
Yeah, they'll have to go if they do indeed get promoted. Here's Morgan Rogers meantime for Lincoln. Lovely jinking run. Tries to play a 1-2 with Hopper, but it doesn't quite come off for him. But just an example of this young loanee from Manchester City and his ability to... It's a bit Dele Alli like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Just
lovely.
moving in between players.
Lovely carry of the ball, glides across the surface, played it in top and looked for the 1-2 and it was a bit unfortunate, he just couldn't get on the end of it. But again, it's Lincoln are the dominant team. Sunderland can't seem to get a grip to the second half.
Well, here's Brennan Johnson for Lincoln inside the Sunderland half to the right hand side. Change is being readied by Lee Johnson. He's going to shuffle his pack in just a moment for Sunderland. Meantime, here's Brennan Johnson, right-hand corner of the area. On the underlap is Conor McGrandles. Oh, he's gone down under pressure. Penalty kick given. Scowen's brought him down. McGrandles wins a penalty for Lincoln City. And they've got a chance to retake a 2-goal advantage with just over an hour gone at the Stadium of Light.
Well, he's made a difference. McGrandles, good play from Lincoln again, getting into this area. McGrandles breaks into the box, drags it back, and Scowen was committed to the tackle and ultimately brought him down. Massive opportunity for Grant, who's scored many penalties this season, but this is going to be, without doubt, the most important one. Sunderland supporters and players complain a little bit that Chris Maguire was down injured, but it was McFadzean actually was down injured, but wasn't a head injury, so they've got no real
no cause
to complain because they don't have to put it out of play. I'm sure if Sunderland were on the attack, they probably would have done the same thing as well, but this is a huge moment in the game for Lincoln.
George Grant, their top scorer, Lincoln, 13 this season. As you say, Simon, quite a few from the penalty spot. Won't have struck a more important penalty this season. This to give Lincoln back their 2-goal advantage against Sunderland. Up against Burge, right-footed, saved by Burge and put behind for a corner. And Burge, who went from 0 to hero in a matter of seconds there after his error in the first leg, he saves Grant's penalty, and it's still only 3-2 on aggregate to Lincoln.
God, would want to be a goalkeeper, as you mentioned, 0 to hero within the space of a few days. Is that the lifeline that Sunderland need to get themselves back into this game?
George Grant went to Lee Burge's right. He guessed right, palmed it out, and that's a lifeline for Sunderland, who have just not got going in this second half. McFadzean still down, wanting some treatment now, sitting down right in front of the Sunderland technical area. Meantime, Max Power and Jack Diamond are both ready to come on for Sunderland as a double change. Don't know whether McFadzean's going to be one of those that's going to be
he's
taken off.
I think
he is definitely coming off. The other change sees Chris Maguire coming off, and he's the one that the Sunderland fans wanted to see, but he's only lasted just over an hour. And Jack Diamond, who had a loan spell just down the road at Harrogate last season, will come on to replace him. And the other change, we'll see Max Power come on for Callum McFadzean in this double change for Lee Johnson. Maguire gets a warm round of applause from those around us in the West Stand.
It's going to be a bit of a makeshift back four here for Sunderland now. You've got Max Power going to right back with Bailey Wright, Luca 9, and then Lyndon Gooch playing at left back as well now. So certainly a makeshift back four. Diamond very positive, runs with the ball, carries you up the pitch. Sunderland have had this lifeline. Are they going to be able to take the opportunity and get this next goal to get them back in it?
Just over 25 minutes to go. Flick on by Stewart for Sunderland to the edge of the Lincoln box. Regan Poole heads it away. Throw into Sunderland. It's 2-1 to Sunderland on the day, but Lincoln still have a goal advantage that will take them to Wembley to play Blackpool a week tomorrow as things stand. But it's going to be Luke 09 with a long throw into the Lincoln box here for Sunderland. Hurls it from 10 yards from the corner flag, low and flat into the near post, headed up and out by Bridcut. They try and keep it alive in the box, Sunderland, but anywhere will do for Edoon. Gets it up to halfway, but there's nobody that far forward in a Lincoln shirt. Sent back downfield by Sunderland. White looks for Stewart in the area, but he's back to goal, trying to tee up White for the shot. Gets away from him, driven goalwards by Wright. Goes down, no penalty. Right hand side of the box, Jack Diamond's first involvement. Brings power into the game. Ball into the near post. It comes off the thigh of Ayoma, and at the second attempt he gets it clear.
You'd think it was the last 2 minutes of the game, wouldn't you, Dad? We've still got like 25-30 minutes to go.
Simon Grayson alongside me, Ian Danta here at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland in possession with Ledbetter. Up for Ross Stewart at the edge of the D, trying to turn and face the goal. It's cleared away by Bridcut, and he was caught late by Ledbetter. And there are a few ohs around us, knowing that wasn't a clever challenge from Grant Ledbetter, who's going to be spoken to at least by the referee, and more than likely a yellow card. Indeed it is a yellow card.
It's going to be a simple decision for the referee there today. We've seen Grant sliding, didn't catch the lad, but because he evaded him and jumped out of the way, I think it's quite an easy decision for the referee to make. But it's game on, isn't it? You've got Sunderland throwing bodies forward. Lincoln could do them on the counter attack. So look, it's been a great game so far. Contrasting first half to the second half for Lincoln, but that penalty save is a massive opportunity for Sunderland. Can they come back into it? With Grant, you'd expect him to have scored there into the point of, if you had a mortgage dance, we'd have probably put the full lot on it for him to score. But seeing you're a rich man, you don't need mortgages, do you?
What do you know that I don't? Lincoln coming forward with Brennan Johnson, clipping the ball to the far post. It's going to skip away from Morgan Rogers. He's managed to keep it in play out on the far side of the field, but he can't find Erdoon. It's won back instead by Diamond, and Diamond can't keep it in play on that far side of the field, so it's a Lincoln throw-in. Here is Rogers again. Flicks the ball back to the halfway line, and it's picked up by TJ Aoma. Regan Paul, the right back. Early ball down the right-hand side, looking for Brennan Johnson, son of David Johnson, former Ipswich and Forest striker. He's on loan, of course, here at Lincoln from Nottingham Forest. And he's just forced the ball behind for a Sunderland goal kick. A reminder, not only have we got Swansea Barnsley tonight at 6:30 on Talksport with the other Championship semi-final, but tomorrow Morecambe Tranmere at 12:30. Morecambe leading that League 2 semi-final from the first leg. Mark Wilson and Neil Redfern, your commentary team at the Globe Arena. You've got the Premier League final day across the Talksport network with Spurs Leicester on Talksport, West Ham Southampton on Talksport 2, and 3 games on the Talksport app, including Leeds West Brom. And then I'll be at the New Lawn Sunday tea time. It's a 6:30 kick-off. Forest Green Rovers against Newport County for the right to face either Morecambe or Tranmere at Wembley a week on Monday. Michael Kitely's going to be alongside me for that second leg with Newport 2 goals up from the first leg, much like Lincoln were coming here to the Stadium of Light. And it's 2-1 at the moment to Sunderland at the moment, which means it's 3-2 on aggregate to Lincoln, who played much better since the restart. But Sunderland looking to restore that aggregate scoreline to 3-3. Here's Ross Stewart down the left-hand side of the area, taking Walsh with him. Lays it back to McGeady. McGeady looking to take on Regan Paul. Plays a diagonal ball into the box, and it's headed behind by Walsh for a Sunderland corner at the north stand end. 2-1 to the Black Cats.
Well, we were talking first half, weren't we, about McGeady getting the opportunities, getting plenty of the ball. Really, that's the first time we've really mentioned him, and we're talking with 70 minutes into the game now, so got to try and get him the ball more often. And if you get it to him, they can still pose questions of asking this Lincoln back four, can they deal with White, can they deal with Stewart?
Less than a quarter of the 90 minutes to go. McGeady's corner for Sunderland, deep to the far post, drops in the 6-yard box and ricochets comfortably through to goalkeeper Alex Palmer, who can just collect it gratefully, hold it close to his chest and hold on to it for a few seconds too many for the locals' liking. So just over 20 minutes to go. Sunderland need another goal, or Lincoln are going to Wembley. Cleared downfield by Palmer, looking for Tom Hopper, whose goal is the crucial one at the moment. White tries to win the ball in the centre circle. Joe Walsh steps in and just thunders it downfield straight to the Sunderland keeper, Lee Burge.
I think he's done well, Walsh, hasn't he, since he's come on. He's dealt with Wyke, he's showed his experience, dealt with Stewart a little bit better than Monsfar did in the first half.
Yeah, he's an important player for Lincoln, is Joe Walsh. He was the 7th signing that Michael Appleton made last summer from Milton Keynes. And as far as Michael Appleton's concerned, he's the best left-sided centre-back in the division.
Yeah, look, and again, he's another player that's been out injured for quite a period of time, and that has hindered Lincoln over the course of the season when they didn't start getting the results that they had the first half of the season. But we've got most of the players back fit now, and they're certainly showing in the second half what's made them the team that they have been for large parts of the season.
Simon Grayson alongside me, Ian Danter. 20 minutes to go. of the 90 at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland 2, Lincoln City 1, but Lincoln 3-2 up on aggregate. Foul on the right-hand side on Jack Diamond gives Sunderland a free kick, which they want to take quickly from that right-hand side. It's going to be left for Leadbitter to drive a ball into the box instead. In fact, no, he rolls it down the right-hand side of the box. Chance for a cross into the area from Diamond. Put behind, is it by Walsh? No, he's kept it in play, but it's been presented back to Sunderland. Diamond tries to win a throw and it came off him last of all. He was scrapping for possession with Grant. It's been given as a Sunderland by the referee. Yeah, referee Salisbury's overruled his assistant. Sunderland put the ball into the box. Stewart goes up at the far post, but so too does Palmer, and the Lincoln goalkeeper claims it well.
That might be controversial if the linesman's closer than the referee, but he overruled him. But lofted ball into the box. Alex Palmer came, collected like you'd want your goalkeeper to do when you're under a little bit of pressure. Just now take your time, obviously to the disgruntlement of the Sunderland supporters and bench. They're wanting him to get on with it, but got to manage the game. You've got to manage situations that you can take the sting out of the game and not give the home team the opportunity to really get ahead of steam going into the last quarter of the game.
Yeah, 18 minutes left on Talksport 2. You're home with the EFL playoffs. 2-1 to Sunderland, but it's not enough for the Black Cats as things stand. They need another goal to force extra time. As it stands, Lincoln are going through to play Blackpool a week on Monday. Sunderland have won themselves that throw-in right by the corner flag, right-hand side. And Jack Diamond is getting prepared to receive the throw. Power's down there, of course. He can play right back for Sunderland. He has done a number of times this campaign. Throws it in, Power. Got support down the right-hand side from Scowen, but it's won back by Edun for Lincoln, but his ball down to halfway is won back for Sunderland by Luke O'Nien. Bailey Wright plays it into the centre circle. It's controlled by Ross Stewart, coming back deep to pick up the ball. Lyndon Gooch now at left back for Sunderland. Plays it square to Leadbitter just shy of the halfway line. Diamond lays it off for Power. Power looks up, sees Wyke going through the centre and spots Diamond making a run down the right-hand side. He's taken Edun with him. Diamond put under pressure by Morgan Rogers, and Rogers wins the ball back for Lincoln and will carry the ball clear up towards halfway. Again tries to burst between two or three Sunderland shirts, but it doesn't work out for him that time.
Well, he probably took the wrong option there. He probably needs to look for a pass rather than run into the bodies where there was plenty of Sunderland red and white shirts. You see the difference between Sunderland now and the first half was that they're playing more into feet, getting it into the wider areas. Now they're a little bit more direct into White, which consequently doesn't allow McGeady to get the ball into key areas where he certainly was a threat first half.
White holds the ball up and finds Jack Diamond trying to burst through the middle, but he's well tackled by Edun, the left back for Lincoln City, who squares the ball in field to Bridcut by the centre circle.
He's been better, hasn't he, this second half? Edun has been showed the capabilities and qualities that he got. First half I thought he was caught in the headlights, to be fair, but he's certainly showing the qualities that he's got defensively and getting forward, and as a whole the Lincoln team have been far better, haven't they?
Sunderland 2, Lincoln City 1. That means it's still 3-2 on aggregate to Michael Apperton's Lincoln City, who have not played at championship level since 1960-61. They'd have a chance to be one game from going back to the second tier of English football if they can see out this final quarter of an hour or so here and get to Wembley to face Blackpool, which I think of the four potential finals we could have had is the least likely that the boffins decided was possible to happen out of the four. But that's where we're headed at the moment. Sunderland have got 15 minutes to do something about it. Power looking down the right-hand side for Diamond, who cuts in field, plays a neat ball in field to Scowen. Scowen just by the D finds McGeady, left-hand side of the box, trying to wriggle away from a couple of challenges. Gooch in support. Gooch left-hand corner of the area, just slips as he tried to get the cross in. Gets back to his feet and keeps possession for Sunderland. What a ball through the legs of Johnston, but nobody had made the run. And Lincoln get it clear up to halfway, but Bailey Wright ducks out of the way so that O'Nien can tidy up and get it back to his keeper Burge.
Looks like we're going to get double substitution from Sunderland there, down below us.
I think
Jordan Jones, maybe one of them.
I think it's Aidan O'Brien And I think it's Carl Winchester who might be coming on for Sunderland. It is O'Brien and Winchester who are being ready down there by Lee Johnson and his team. And it will be a free kick to Sunderland. They're going to make these changes before the free kick or once the ball's gone dead. It's Lee Johnson's call. And they're just going to delay it, I think, until this free kick has been taken. Aidan McGeady, as always, standing over it. It's midway point of the Lincoln half, but it's quite a way to the left of centre. Lincoln holding their line at the 18-yard box. In it comes from McGeady. Bailey Wright almost got on the end of it, but it was clutched gratefully to his chest by Palmer. Bailey Wright trying to get in front of Palmer, just couldn't get the touch.
Yeah, good in swinging corner, free kick from McGeady. Goalkeeper very positive. Alex Palmer. Bailey Wright just couldn't quite get on the end of it. Them fine margins in football matches that the goalkeeper makes a decision. Does he make a good one? Well, he certainly did then.
Simon Grayson, you can hear alongside me, Ian Danter here at the Stadium of Light. Seconds tick away, 13 minutes of the 90 to go. And Scowen is the man that's brought off to allow Carl Winchester to come on.
I think it's Ross Stewart coming off as well.
And Ross Stewart makes way for Aidan O'Brien, the number 10, who hasn't scored since the winner at Bristol Rovers that we brought you on Talksport 2 back in March. So he is on for these last 13 minutes or so. I can tell you in the FA Trophy final at Wembley, half-time score there, Hereford 1, Hornchurch 0.
Interested if Michael Appleton's looking to make any changes. You've got the option of Callum Morton to come on up front instead of maybe Tom Hopper. Gives you the legs and energy. He will close people down. He'll run over the top. Maybe that might be something for Michael to consider.
Oh, given away by Bridcut, and Sunderland suddenly have the ball back in Lincoln's defensive third. McGeady trying to muscle his way past Regan Paul. He's going to get to the byline, left hand side, the cross into the near post, misses out. Aidan O'Brien, White can't get to the loose ball, thumped away by Lincoln up to halfway. Back it's going to come though from Sunderland, 12 minutes to go. It's going to be all hands to the pump for Lincoln to hold on to this lead. They have the aggregate lead, remember, they're behind on the day but ahead in the tie, and a goal kick will allow them to waste a few seconds as they spot the ball down, and that'll start the boos ringing around the Stadium of Light again.
It's that balance, right, isn't it, now for Lincoln? Do they just sit back and go to 4-5-1 and try and soak up the pressure, or do they actually try and ask a few more questions to get this next goal? It's Sunderland at this moment in time, they're the ones that are asking all the questions, but you've still got that threat of Johnson and McCandles running from midfield, and Rogers and Hopper. Game's still finely balanced, isn't it? One goal and to the Sunderland, and it is actually game on for the last 10 minutes of it.
Remember, Lincoln had a penalty to go back 2 goals clear of Sunderland, but Lee Burge saved. But here comes McGrandles at the other end. He steps inside his man. McGrandles puts it wide. Oh, what a chance for Conor McGrandles, but he's wasted it for Lincoln City. Another big chance goes begging for the Imps, and Sunderland are still only 1 goal behind.
Well, if Lincoln don't get through this second leg, then they've only got themselves to blame. The penalty that you were just talking about, Hopper goes over the 2 centre-backs, wins it. McGrandle goes through one-on-one and puts it wide of the post. Oh, what a big chance in a big key moment of the game.
Meanwhile, Bailey Wright sends a long ball downfield. White heads it towards the box, but it's gone behind Aidan O'Brien, and Palmer will claim it, waits until O'Brien's within a couple of yards of him, and then will pick it up.
You know what the first reaction is when you miss that chance? I look down to see what the manager and the coaches are going through, and their hands are up in the air on their heads. They're like, no way, how come we've missed this opportunity to really put the game to bed?
10 minutes to go at the Stadium of Light. Lincoln are 10 minutes away from Wembley. Sunderland are 10 minutes away from another season in the 3rd tier of English football. It's 2-1 to the Black Cats on the day, but Lincoln have the 3-2 aggregate advantage from that first leg on Wednesday evening. Sunderland in possession with Bailey Wright inside his own half. Finds Power, who slots the ball into the feet of Ledbetter. Back it goes to Luke O'Nien. Just slows the game down for a moment. Passes infield to Winchester, who gets his first involvement in the game. Carl Winchester now sent down the right hand side again for Max Power. O'Brien makes a run down the right-hand side of the box. Joe Walsh goes out there with him and puts it out of play for a throw.
Again, Walsh read the situation. O'Brien looked to run down the channel. 10 minutes to go plus the injury time. Are we going to get another opportunity for Sunderland? They're going to ask the questions without a shadow of a doubt, but are they going to get the break? Are they going to manage to...
White heads it down to the edge of the area, off the post from McGeady, and put it to the side netting on the follow-up. Another chance goes begging for Sunderland. McGeady with a crisp low drive from the edge of the area, smacked against the foot of the post, and the follow-up from White into the side netting.
Well, the question was answered, wasn't it? I said, are they going to get another opportunity? Are they going to get a bit of luck that'll go their way? It drops inside the box. McGeady side foots it against the post, comes back to White, who has to take it first time, and it goes into the side netting. Oh, big opportunity again.
This is tense. This is really, really tense at the Stadium of Light. So much riding on this last 9 minutes or so of normal time. As it stands, Lincoln are going through. But one more goal from Sunderland gives us another 30 minutes of football here on Talksport 2. Burge with a long clearance downfield for Sunderland, asking Diamond to give chase. He might get there eventually. He does, ahead of Adoon, and the ball's gone out of play, but it will be classed as a Lincoln throw. Came off Diamond's chest. Last of all, 8 to go on Talksport 2.
Yeah, just looking at the bench, David Kurzweil, assistant to Michael Appleton, looking at his watch, thinking, God, go a little bit quicker, where Sunderland players are thinking the clock is going too fast because it's going against them at this moment in time. But I'm pretty sure there's going to be an opportunity for either team to either put the game to bed or give them that opportunity to take it into potential extra time.
Well, we've seen it in the last 5 minutes. Both teams have had great chances. McGrandles free inside the area but firing wide for Lincoln. McGeady at the other end of the north stand end, driving a shot against the foot of the post for Sunderland. 2-1 it stays to Sunderland on the day, but it's not enough, remember. They need another goal, Sunderland. But Lincoln trying to hang on to this 3-2 aggregate scoreline that will see the Imps through to Wembley to take on Blackpool a week on Monday, live on the Talksport network as part of playoff weekend at Wembley. 7 minutes to go. Bailey White hits a diagonal ball downfield for Sunderland, looking for Charlie White. Goes to ground under pressure from Poole. Referee wastes play on. A slightly hurried clearance from Aoma. With Sunderland to throw midway point of the Lincoln half, left-hand side. Throws taken quickly by McGeady. Down goes Lyndon Gooch, and he's won a free kick off Brennan Johnson. And a chance for McGeady to put one of those teasing balls into the box.
Don't be giving cheap free kicks away if you can help it, because we saw the previous one where he...
Oh, he's taking it short. He's taking it too quickly for the referee's liking. Luke O'Neill made a lovely run up to the edge of the area.
Yeah.
And McGeady had spotted it, but referee Salisbury
he
didn't give him the permission.
Got to wait for his whistle to blow. Yeah, we've seen the previous one, McGeady in swinging right footer, but Alex Palmer made a good decision and collected it. What's going to happen with this one?
Similar delivery from McGeady. Touched White. Oh! There was a Sunderland player right in front of goal, and he touched too much of it. He got too much contact on it.
Offside anyway, Dance.
Flag up was Carl Winchester, wasn't it?
Yeah, I tell you something, he's a relieved man that he's seen that flag go up, isn't it? Because that's a great ball in. Keeper couldn't come for it.
It was like a clearance, though.
Stretching for it, and then he puts it across goal when really he should have been hitting the target. Relieved man to see the assistant referees like the flag go up. So
it's a free kick to Lincoln City, just over 5 minutes of the 90 to play on Talksport 2. Sunderland 2, Lincoln 1, but it's Sunderland 2, Lincoln 3 on aggregate. Free kick to Sunderland. Winchester was bundled over by Johnson. They've taken the free kick quickly. Sent forward by Max Power from Charlie White to flick it on. It's got it into the area. O'Brien hits it against Palmer and goes behind for a corner. Great forward play between Charlie White and Aidan O'Brien, but the keeper was equal to it, and it's a corner kick to Sunderland at the north stand end.
Got the Lincoln players saying a bit of an elbow used by Charlie White, but direct ball from Max Power up to White. Gambled on the he was going to win the flick on, does all that you ask him to do, hit the target, and it's a good save from Alex Palmer, resulting in this corner. Asking questions, Sunderland, are they going to get opportunities again?
So a corner kick to Sunderland with 5 minutes to go at the north stand end. Players packed around the penalty spot as McGeady delivers it into the near post, right footed, headed behind for a goal kick in the end. Players flying in. Bailey Wright was in there, Charlie White was in there. Been given us a goal kick, and there's Lincoln bodies all over their own penalty area, just picking themselves up.
Yeah, look, they've defended the set pieces quite well, especially the last few minutes. But you're going to see more of it. It's going to go more direct up to White. You're going to see sort of Hayden O'Brien, Winchester running behind, looking for the flick-ons. Is it going to land in a certain great position for him to ask more questions on the Lincoln City back four and Alex Palmer in goal?
4 minutes to go, plus whatever Michael Salisbury wants to add on at the end of the 90. Lincoln are getting closer and closer. Been sent downfield from the free kick. Won well by McGrandles down the right hand side of the box. Nobody in the box for Lincoln, so he's gone for the corner flag on this near side, but he's dispossessed and Gooch clears it downfield for Sunderland. White makes Ayoma put the ball out of play for a throw-in to Sunderland.
He's done really well, I think, McGrandles. He's got forward, he's kept the ball, he's been part of that midfield three that have regained the opportunities for Lincoln. They've managed to get a foothold in the game, where first half he was totally Sunderland. He's made a big influence on this game in the second half.
Long ball downfield for Sunderland, but it's cleared away by Regan Poole for Lincoln City. 09 heads it intelligently upfield. Lyndon Gooch tried to head it infield, but it was picked off by McGrandles again, but McGrandles loses possession in the end to Gooch, and Sunderland try again. 3 minutes to go. They're being urged forward by the locals. 10,000 Mackems desperate for a late goal to take us to extra time on Talksport 2. But equally, Lincoln desperately clinging on to this 3-2 aggregate scoreline that would see the Imps to Wembley. Long ball downfield for Charlie White, headed away by Walsh. Further clear by Edun. Might be picked up here by Ledbetter. Sends it out to Max Power on the right. Now it goes infield to Jack Diamond. Early ball into the area, headed out by Ayoma. Anywhere will do for Lincoln. And there's a foul on McGrandles, who protected the ball well, got the free kick, and there's a knowing nod of the head from Simon Grayson as Conor McGrandles wins Lincoln a free kick.
Yeah, he did ever so well. He just got his body across the Sunderland midfield player and allowed the Sunderland player to come through the back of him, get a free kick, just kill a little bit more time. Alex Palmer's going to be no rush to be taking this.
Palmer does take it downfield, and Morgan Rogers is onside inside the area. Can he get it past Lee Burge? Burge makes a save at the near post to save Sunderland once again. Completely caught square, Sunderland, from a quick free kick, but Morgan Rogers couldn't get it past Lee Burge.
Yeah, just the angle, wasn't it? He was coming in on that left-hand side on his right foot, but Burge came out to him and smothered the angle and saved Sunderland, didn't they? It was a big opportunity for Lincoln to finish the tie-off, and that's what it's going to be this last 90 seconds or so plus injury time. Sunderland pushing bodies forward, Lincoln trying to take the sting out of the game, hitting them on the counter-attack. Yeah, it's been a fascinating game, hasn't it?
Lee Johnson prowling his technical area, desperate for one last chance for Sunderland to force extra time. Meanwhile, Michael Appleton, hands in pockets, just trying to look more nonchalant as he strides around his technical area. Can't hide it from me, Michael. You're just like your players out there. You're desperate for that final whistle to go. Lincoln are 3-2 up on aggregate, and Conor McGrandles in possession for the Imps, but he loses out on this near touchline to Carl Winchester. Plays into the centre circle of Diamond. Diamond is shoved to the ground. Well, that looks a free kick, all ends up to me. In fact, a free kick's been given for handball by Morgan Rogers. Sunderland take it quickly. O'Brien plays it out left to Aidan McGeady, running at Regan Poole, gets to the left-hand corner of the box, cutting in field now. McGeady, he's got Gooch in space on the left-hand side. Lyndon Gooch tries to give it back to McGeady, but passed it into empty space. There was nobody there for Sunderland. Luke O'Nien picks up the loose ball, tries to turn it in field, but he's only found a Lincoln boot, but Grant can't keep it in play.
Gooch has just got to put it in the box. He's come back on his right hand side. There's about 5 or 6 Sunderland shirts in there. Just put it in the box, ask questions.
5 minutes of added time that we're into now, and a long ball into the box is claimed by the Lincoln goalkeeper Alex Palmer. Lincoln City are 5 minutes or so away from a trip to Wembley in the League One playoff final against Blackpool. What can Sunderland dredge up from their reserves in these last few minutes?
Well, they're going to have plenty of bodies forward. They've got to get into Charlie White, get something special from McGeady, or one of Winchester running from midfield. O'Brien just got to give everything they can. Obviously, it's too late in the day now to decide they don't want to just sit back and not accept that Lincoln might get another goal to seal the game off. They've got to just ask questions and hopefully something will drop to them.
It's Lee Burge, the Sunderland keeper. He's going to drive the ball downfield. But it's going to be headed back towards halfway by Morgan Rogers. Picked up by Bailey Wright. Strong header downfield, looking for Charlie White. Brilliant header cleared by Joe Walsh for Lincoln. Morgan Rogers tries to get a piece of it in the centre circle. Trying to run away from Bailey Wright. And he's fouled by Bailey Wright. Lincoln have a free kick bang on halfway. It's 2-1 on the day to Sunderland, but it's 3-2 to Lincoln on aggregate. And we've already played a minute of the 5 that have been added on.
Flanagan looks like he's coming on. I'm not sure he's going to go and play centre-back. I think he's going to go up and be another centre forward, unless Luke O'Nien goes up there.
He's coming on for Lyndon Gooch for a last throw of the dice from Lee Johnson and Sunderland. Flanagan is on for Lyndon Gooch, and he's gone to left back, and he will just drive the ball up to halfway, looking for Jack Diamond, who tries to chase his own flick on as it goes into the Lincoln half. Walsh will thump it downfield and out of play for a Sunderland throw. 2 minutes of added time have gone on Talksport 2. At least 3 to play. Lincoln 3-2 up on aggregate. And Sunderland have a throw, and Lee Burge just told to get another ball off the pitch. There were 2 balls on the pitch temporarily. In comes the throw. Back for Bailey Wright, who passes into the centre circle for Winchester. Winchester drives into the Lincoln half. Options left and right. Just to his right is Luke O'Nien. O'Nien threads the ball up to the edge of the area. Max Power trying to turn away from trouble. Finds McGeady. McGeady, midway point of the half, clips the ball into the area. Might drop on the 6-yard box. Oh, it's pinball around the area, and it's just kept alive by Sunderland. Out to McGeady again on the left-hand side. Throw into Sunderland as in slides Brendan Johnson.
As you said there, pinball, it bounces around, it ricochets off people, and Lincoln managed to just get it away. It's going to be a long throw in from Luke O'Nien. Last minute or so, who's going to get the first flick on? Is he going to land to somebody to punish Lincoln?
From the left-hand side, Luke O'Nien's long throw for Sunderland into the box. Drops in the area, cleared away by George Grant, but only as far as Max Power. Max Power, he's going to have a go from 40 yards, and it sails way over the crossbar. 3 minutes of added time have gone, and Max Power saw his name in lights then for a minute.
Yeah, look, it's too far out. Just stick it back in there with Wyke and Flanagan and Bailey Wright are up there. What is it, 35 yards out, doesn't even hit the target, so bad decision there from Max Power, and gives that opportunity for Lincoln to waste a little bit more time. We're going into the dying stages now. Ball's going to go up, or he's even going across. Alex Palmer could get another.
He's going to get booked for this. He's really taking the proverbial the Lincoln keeper.
He only moved it about 3 yards across, didn't he?
Now he clears downfield. We're nearly at 4 minutes of stoppage time up on Talksport 2. Lincoln are nearly there. Here's Brennan Johnson running towards the Sunderland penalty area. McGeady's trying to close him down. He's got something on it. Guided back by Winchester for Lee Burge. Burge clears left-footed up to halfway. White goes up for a header. Poole gets there first. Now a long lofted ball down the left-hand side. Looks for Aidan O'Brien. Ayoma with a strong header clear. Sent further downfield by Regan Poole. But straight to Luke O'Nien. We're in the last minute of added time. It's now or never for Sunderland. O'Nien gets to the halfway line. It's going to have to be a Hail Mary surely up to the area. Left-footed strike up to the box, but Alex Palmer should claim that, and does, and falls to the ground, and Lincoln are nearly there.
I don't know why Luke O'Nien didn't use his right foot to put it into the box there. His strongest right foot, checks back on his left and doesn't deliver the real quality that he's got. He's went straight to the box. Alex Palmer came and collected it, walking around his box, going to smash it down to the other half of the pitch, probably out of play. Try and defend this last stages of the last 30 seconds or so.
Well, the 5 minutes are nearly up. It's going to be down to Michael Salisbury in just a moment as to whether he wants to add any more on. Once again, Sunderland have got to get it downfield, otherwise it's another season in League One. Flicked on by Wyke, as it no, it's hooked away by Brennan Johnson to halfway. O'Nien heads it up in the air. Wright heads it over halfway, but it's won back by Lincoln and George Grant. Morgan Rogers tries to pick it up, he's dispossessed. But Sunderland have won themselves a free kick just shy of the centre circle. Burge is told to run forward and take it and send it up to the edge of the area. Last chance for Sunderland. Lee Burge to take this free kick for the Black Cats. Floats it downfield, looking for Charlie Wyke. White heads it across the 18-yard line, flicked towards the far post, up in the air by Morgan Rogers. Out to the far side goes Diamond. The full-time whistle goes, and Lincoln City are going to Wembley and condemn Sunderland to a fourth successive season at League One level. Sunderland won on the day, but did not win the tie. Lincoln City advance with a 3-2 victory on aggregate. Goals in the first half from Ross Stewart and Charlie White had levelled matters on aggregate, and Lincoln were really on the ropes. But after a second half reshuffle by Michael Appleton, they got the goal they craved when Tom Hopper headed home from a George Grant corner, and they held on to that 3-2 advantage, and the Black Cats have to deal with another season in League One football. But it's Wembley for Lincoln against Blackpool a week tomorrow, with a final score here of Sunderland 2, Lincoln City 1. The aggregate score, Sunderland 2, Lincoln City 3.